Key ability to focus and concentrate is essential for success in any competitive endeavor. Great commanders and business leaders are those who are most capable of bringing all their resources to bear on the actions or goals that are critical for success. The Battle of Isandlwana. The British Expeditionary Force of 2,600 men under Lord Chelmsford advanced into Zululand in January 1879 with banners flying, completely confident in their ability to defeat the armies of the Zulu chief, King Cetshwayo. After 3 days of marching, the army stopped at a rocky outcrop named the Principle of the Mass. Isandlwana to rest. Violating one of the first principles of warfare, never divide your forces in the face of the enemy, Lord Chelmsford took 1,600 men with him on a day's march from the main camp in response to a report of an encounter by British troops with a large Zulu force. Zulu spies had been watching the British army from the hills and relaying their observations back to the rest of the Zulu army. With the British army divided, the Zulu warriors saw their chance and took it. Even though they had been warned by their natal scouts about the formidable fighting power of the Zulu army, the British troops at Isandlwana had dispersed over a large area and become casual about their defenses. Suddenly the Zulus attacked, using their buffalo head formation. In the buffalo attack strategy, the Zulu army was divided into 4 sections. The first section, the head of the buffalo, attacked the British soldiers frontally, throwing them back. The second and third sections, the horns, swarmed out on either flank to envelop the enemy. The fourth group, the loins, was held in reserve. The British force of 1,800 men at Isandlwana was quickly overwhelmed and wiped out. Only 55 men survived. They had dispersed their forces, spreading them over a wide area, completely giving up their ability to concentrate and counter the attack of the Zulus. It was the worst defeat ever inflicted on an army of the British Empire by native forces. The Battle of Rorke's Drift. The Zulu army, several thousand strong, and emboldened by its victory at the Battle of Isandlwana, immediately set out under the leadership of the king's brother to wipe out the combination mission station and trading post at Rorke's Drift across the border in Natal, less than 1 day's march away. The Battle of Rorke's Drift lasted 2 days. The 140 enlisted men and officers held off wave after wave of attack by more than 4,000 Zulu warriors. At the end of the battle, the Zulus retreated back into their homeland. They never again won a major battle against a British force. What was the difference between these 2 battles, which took place in the same week? The soldiers at Rorke's Drift were able to mass together and concentrate their fire throughout the 2-day battle. They were able to consolidate their defense of the mission station with a tight perimeter. The much larger British force at Isandlwana was dispersed over a wide area. They went into battle piecemeal, unable to concentrate their forces or their fire. In the Battle of Isandlwana, the disciplined Zulu regiments, called impis, massed their attack and destroyed the British forces. Even though the Zulus were armed only with light spears and shields, they were able to defeat the better-armed British forces using the power of concentration. The Principle of the Mass. Concentrate combat power at the decisive place and time. The commander must choose the proper time and place. Determining the right time and place requires a combination of judgment, timing, good military intelligence, and all the factors that go into creating and deploying an effective combat force. The right time and place is highly fluid, ever-changing in the fog of war. The commander must also determine what combat power is available to him and how much is needed. Since combat power is the total of physical means and moral means available to a commander, his available combat power is a function of numbers, quality, and state of morale. The principle of the mass leads to success when a commander achieves superiority in combat power over his rival. Through proper application of the principle of the mass, numerically superior forces can be defeated. The principle of the mass applied to business. Sales and profitability are twin essentials for business success. Your ability to concentrate your limited resources and energies on your greatest potential opportunities for sales and profitability is key to your success. A business usually begins with a single product or service for which it sees a need that is not currently being satisfied in the market. Often, the entrepreneur believes that he can offer a product or service that is superior to the competition. In each case, The ability to concentrate single-mindedly on producing and vigorously selling a superior product is essential for victory. The opposite of concentration is diffusion of effort, a tendency to offer too many products and services to too many types of customers, in too many ways, with too many different price points. This inevitably leads to loss of energy, overextension, excessive costs, and the diversion of key talents away from the areas where great success is possible. The Citadel Strategy. In the days of walled cities, a city was often built with concentric walls, like the rings of a target, from the outside to the inside. If the enemy breached the first wall, the defenders retreated to the second wall. If that wall was breached, the defenders retreated inward to the third wall. The highest and most defensible part of the city was called the redoubt, or the citadel. The citadel represented the last stronghold of defense. When all was lost, the king and his family, the key people in the city, and the royal guard withdrew to the citadel, where they attempted to hold out until they were rescued by a neighboring power. What is the citadel in your business? If the sales of your products and services dropped dramatically, on what few products or services would you concentrate and focus all of your efforts in order to survive? Whatever your answer, this is your core business. This is the most important product or service you offer. This is where you must continually mass and concentrate your forces to achieve and maintain sales and profitability. Your core business is made up of those products or services that you produce and deliver in an excellent fashion. These are the products or services that your customers like above all others. These are also your most profitable products and services. They represent the essence of what you do, and they are the major reasons for your profitability and growth up to now. In Chris Zook and James Allen's book Profit from the Core, they show that businesses succeed when they concentrate on their core, and they fail when they get too far from their core. If, for any reason, your business is not as profitable as you would like it to be, the solution is usually to get back to doing what you do best and most profitably. Get back to your core. Gary Hamel and C.K. Prahalad, in their book Competing for the Future, emphasize that the key to strategic success, both in the present and in the future, is to identify your core competencies and then focus on getting better and better in those key areas. Your core competencies are the special skills and abilities that enable you and your company to produce excellent products and services and even to dominate your market. Your core competencies are the foundation of all business success. No business success is possible without essential core competencies developed and deployed at a high level. What are yours? Concentrating your powers for business success. As your market changes, you should regularly take time out to identify your most profitable products and services. What are they today? What are they likely to be tomorrow? What could they be? What should they be? Of all the products and services that you offer, if you had to retreat to your citadel, what one or two products and services would you continue to produce and sell? Who are your most important customers? Who are the people who buy from you the most readily? And from whom you earn the highest profits? Who are the 20% of your customers that account for 80% of your sales revenues? What is your plan to keep these customers and to create more of them? Who are your most important people internally? Who are the people in your business whom you depend upon the most for the success of your enterprise? Who are the 20% of your staff, either internally or externally? Who produce 80% of the results that your company depends on? Develop a plan to retain, appreciate, and reward your key people before someone comes along and hires them away. What are your most successful methods of marketing and sales? Which are the most effective? On a cost per sale basis, where do you get the biggest bang for your buck in sales and marketing expenditures? Based on this analysis, what should you be doing more of or less of in sales and marketing? Many companies dramatically increase their revenues by reorienting their marketing efforts and focusing on a specific market segment to the exclusion of all others. Would this make sense for you? The Battle of Austerlitz. Napoleon achieved one of his greatest victories at the Battle of Austerlitz in Moravia on December 2, 1805, by using the principle of the mass. The combined forces of Alexander I of Russia and Francis I of Austria outnumbered him, and they were well positioned on the battlefield. Nonetheless, he defeated them by concentrating all of his forces on seizing the Pratzen Heights, the high point in the center of the battlefield, which was occupied by the Russians. If he could control the highest point in the battlefield, he could move his reserves and mask his attacks against the Austrian and Russian armies. When the battle began, Napoleon had 73,000 men and 139 guns. The combined forces of the Austrians and the Russians were 85,500 men and 278 guns. The battle raged back and forth from 7 o'clock in the morning until about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, but the French were eventually victorious. By concentrating all of their forces on the key objective, they were able to seize the commanding heights of the battlefield and dominate the fight. From this point, Napoleon was able to operate from the Pratzen Heights, lashing out against the Allied columns on his south and north. Napoleon's genius was in continually shifting his forces so that he had superior numbers at each point of attack. By 4:30 p.m., the battle was over. The Austro-Russian casualties amounted to more than 27,000 men. The French lost only 8,300. This was one of the decisive battles in European history. It was a classic application of the principle of the mass. Just as Alexander the Great concentrated his forces and led his elite companion cavalry in a focused attack on the enemy center at the battles of Issus and Arbela. Great generals win battles by concentrating and massing superior strength at the right time and the right place to assure victory. Selecting the right time and place to concentrate your powers is always a matter of judgment based on many factors. Selecting the right time and place comes from training, experience, good intelligence, and luck. Key result areas. Identify the key result areas of your business. What are the results that your company, and your products or services, absolutely have to get to satisfy your customers? Identify the key result areas of each person on your staff, including yourself. What do you absolutely, positively have to do in an excellent fashion to get the results that are expected of you? Once you have identified your personal key result areas, you must then set standards of performance in each area. How do you measure those results? A key result area has 3 qualities. First, it is clear, specific, and measurable. Second, it is the sole responsibility of a single person. If that person does not do it, it will not be done by someone else. Third, a key result is an output of the job that becomes an input for the job of someone else. A key result area may be closing a sale. This result is specific and measurable. It is the responsibility of a particular salesperson. The sales order then becomes an input to the people who have to process the sale, produce the product or service, deliver or install it, bill for it, and service it afterwards. In management, the innovation and development of new products and services is a key result area. It is something that must be done. It is measurable. It is usually under the authority of, or the responsibility of, a single person. Once it is complete, it becomes an input to the manufacturing, marketing, sales, and delivery functions of the business. These are called key result areas because, if they are not done, and done well, in a timely fashion, they can lead to failure in a job or even in an entire company. For example, a key result area is leadership. If a company does not have competent and committed leaders who are capable of making the right decisions and getting the job done in a timely fashion, the company will eventually go out of business. Because key result areas are measurable, you can attach a standard of performance to each one. Even better, you can attach a standard of excellent performance to each one. How a person accomplishes his key result areas and the standards of performance he reaches becomes the basis for all rewards and promotion within the organization. With key result areas and standards of performance, people know exactly what they are expected to do, and to what standard, and what rewards or consequences go along with successful performance. Ideally, everyone should know the key result areas and standards of performance of each co-worker, and even the boss. This is the key to effective teamwork and concentrated effort. Critical success factors. In every business, and in every part of the business, there are a few critical success factors or benchmarks that you can use to measure performance and results in each part of the organization at any time. These measures can be as simple as daily sales volume, or they can be as complex as gross sales revenue per person employed in the company. One of the most important things you can do to help you concentrate your attention is to select the few critical success factors or measures that can most quickly and accurately give you a reading on the key parts of your business. When I was developing real estate, I built a pizza restaurant in one of my shopping centers. The owner, a successful entrepreneur named Peter, had several restaurants in different parts of the city. Each time a pizza order was taken, it was written up on a sales slip that was put on a spike on top of the cash register. This was Peter's critical success measure. He could walk into any restaurant, at any time of day, and, by looking at the number of sales slips on the spike, he would have an immediate idea of how well the restaurant was doing that day. What numbers go onto your spike? Most businesses focus on daily, weekly, and monthly sales. Many individuals focus on the amount they earn per week, month, or year. Successful entrepreneurs think in terms of how much they earn each day. The most successful people think in terms of how much they earn each hour. This becomes their benchmark for personal performance and financial results. Your ability to select the correct critical success factors, and then to concentrate on improving those numbers, is a key responsibility of leadership. If the numbers you choose are the right ones for your business, a single number can reveal a lot about what is going on throughout the enterprise. The profit model. Most companies sell a variety of products and services. The danger in being a mini conglomerate is that you can very easily lose track of the exact costs of producing a product or service and selling it in a competitive market. It may happen that many of the products or services that you are selling today are not really yielding you the kind of profit you think they are. In fact, you could be losing money on your best-selling items and not even know it. Many companies think they know which product is their best seller and consequently which product they should concentrate the bulk of their resources behind. Before you make any assumptions, however, you need to make sure you are making a profit on that product and that you are using your resources effectively. One of the most important decisions you can make is to isolate each product or service you sell and then accurately determine all the costs involved in the production and sale of that product. Allocate a portion of the rent, the staff, and administrative costs, the utilities and telephone bills, the advertising and promotion, and a part of every variable cost that you can identify. Determine exactly how many hours of executive time it takes to sell and deliver this product. How many returns do you receive? What is your average gross and net profit per sale? When you itemize every single cost attached to a product or service, you will often find out that some of your best-selling products or services are not yielding you very much profit at all. In fact, many companies find out that they are selling a product or service at a loss and at high volume. If you have an entrepreneurial mentality, you are probably not very interested in the accounting and bookkeeping functions necessary to determine the exact costs or expenses associated with a particular product or service. In that case, hire an accountant, give her the necessary instructions with regard to allocating direct costs, indirect costs, fixed costs, variable costs, and semi-variable costs to your top 20% of products or services. Have her break out the costs and revenues of each product down to the penny. You may find that a product that you have been taking for granted is your biggest money maker. Meanwhile, a product that you have been selling in large quantities hardly makes you any profit at all. Whatever the case may be, it is important that you find out for yourself so that you can concentrate your energies and resources on selling more of the products and services that yield you the highest net profits from everything you do. The principle of the mass applied to personal success. The key to personal success is for you to do more and more of those things that you enjoy the most, and get paid the most for doing, and simultaneously, for you to do fewer and fewer of those things that you don't like and which don't pay you very much. In Chapter 1, The Principle of the Objective, I explained the importance of setting goals and gave you a 7-step method that you can use to set and achieve any goal you want for the rest of your life. I also mentioned the central importance of your major definite purpose. This is the one goal, the attainment of which will have the greatest positive impact on your life. You should know what this goal is and be working on it every single day. Be clear about your goals. The principle of the mass has perhaps the greatest impact of all when it is applied to your goals. Your ability to decide exactly what you want and then to concentrate all your energies on achieving your most important goals probably determines your success and happiness more than any other decision you make. Decide how much money you want to earn each month and each year. Write it down. Make a plan. Work on your plan every day. Set goals for the amount of money that you want to accumulate sometime in the future, and focus on achieving this amount every month. Leave nothing to chance. Decide what you want for your family and in your relationships with the important people in your life. Write these goals down, and do something to attain them each day. Set goals for how healthy and fit you want to be. Create diet and exercise plans that you work on every day to help you live a long, happy life. When you focus and concentrate on clear, written, measurable goals, combined with timelines and action plans, you accomplish vastly more than the average person who simply acts and reacts to whatever is going on around him. Develop the skills you require. Just as a company requires core competencies to survive and thrive, both in the present and in the future, so do you. Identify your special talents and skills. What are your natural abilities and interests? What is it that you are good at? Even more important, what is it that you could be good at if you set it as a goal, made a plan, and worked on it every day? Knowledge and know-how are the keys to success in the 21st century, and your skill set is becoming obsolete with every passing year. Whatever got you to where you are today is not enough to keep you there. You must be continually thinking forward, into the future, and identifying the skills you will need to be able to make an excellent living in the years ahead. Ask this question regularly: what one skill, if I developed and did it in an excellent fashion, would have the greatest positive impact on my career? Whatever your answer to that question, make a plan to acquire that skill or to improve in that area. If you are not sure what that key skill might be, ask your boss. Ask your coworkers. If necessary, take tests to measure your level of competence in the important parts of your job. Your ability to ask and answer this question correctly will largely determine how much you earn and accomplish in the years ahead. Do something every day. Every great success is an accumulation of many small efforts and actions that no one ever sees or appreciates. It is the little things you do each day, every day, that eventually add up to a great life. Decide on the daily actions that can help you the most. Self and your life, the happier and more effective you will be. Action is everything. The principle of the mass applied to time management. The primary reason that people succeed in life is because they identify the most important task they can accomplish, at any given time, and then focus single-mindedly on completing that task before anything else. This is the entirety of time management. All time management systems are developed to help you identify that critical task and get you going on it before you do anything else of lower value. In my book Eat That Frog, I give 21 key ideas that you can use to set priorities, overcome procrastination, and get the job done fast. The most important principle of the book is the significance of starting on your most important task immediately, and then disciplining yourself to concentrate on that single task until it is 100% complete. When you can do that, you will have conquered yourself. You can then go on to achieve any goal you set for yourself. The productivity curve. Imagine a curve that slopes down from a high point on the left to a low point on the right. This is your productivity curve. At the high end of the curve, the things you do have great value. At the low end of the curve, the things you do have little or no value at all. Where you choose to work on your own productivity curve largely determines what you will accomplish in your work and personal life. Successful people discipline themselves to work at the top of the curve most of the time. Unsuccessful people unwittingly allow themselves to slide down the curve. They spend the day working at things that are not particularly important or valuable. Here is the key point. Whatever you do repeatedly becomes a new habit. You either develop the habit of working at the top of your curve, doing things that really make a difference to yourself and your company, or by default you will end up working at the bottom of your curve, doing things that really don't matter at all. The choice is yours. And you make this choice every time you select a particular task to work on. The Pareto Principle. Perhaps the most famous time management principle of all is the Pareto principle, first developed by the Italian economist Vilfredo Pareto in 1895. After years of research, he concluded that society could be divided into two groups: the vital few, the top 20% who controlled most of the money, and the trivial many, the bottom 80% who owned very little. He concluded, and proved mathematically, that the top 20% of people in any society ended up owning 80% of the wealth. Further studies with the Pareto principle have shown that this ratio applies to almost any economic activity. For example, 20% of your customers will purchase 80% of your products or services. Of all the things you sell, 20% contribute 80% of the profits. On your staff, 20% of your people will produce 80% of the results that your company achieves. In time management, the Pareto principle says that 20% of the things you do will account for 80% of the value of all the things you do. The key to high productivity is for you to identify your top 20% of tasks and activities before you begin. It is then crucial to work on those vital few single-mindedly all day long. You must simultaneously avoid getting distracted by the bottom 80% of tasks that contribute very little value to your life or work. The principle of 3. Here is an exercise: make a list of everything you do at work. Ask yourself, if I could only do one thing on this list, which one task contributes the greatest value to my company? Once you have identified the most valuable thing you do, ask yourself, what is the second most valuable thing I do? What is the third? In most jobs, there seem to be 3 critical tasks that you perform that contribute most of the value of the work you do. Of these 3, one task will usually be more important than the other 2, and the other 2 are more important than any of your other tasks. Your job is to identify these 3 tasks, in order of priority, and then to work exclusively in these areas until every task is 100% complete. This is the key to excellent time management. Consider the consequences. The easiest way to set priorities on your time and your work is to ask the question, what are the potential consequences of doing or not doing this task? An important task or activity has significant potential consequences. An unimportant task has low or no potential consequences. By potential consequences, I mean that if you perform this task excellently, and in a timely fashion, it can have a major impact on your career and your future. And all your tasks can be ranked in an order or priority from the task having the greatest possible consequences to the task having the least number of consequences. Imagine that you were to be called out of town unexpectedly for a month. Of all your current tasks, which one task would you want to get finished before you left? This is your top priority. This will almost invariably be the one task that has the greatest potential consequences for successful completion. Ask yourself, if I could only do one thing all day long, which one task contributes the greatest value to my company or my income? This is another question to help you identify and focus on your highest priority at work. Ask yourself, what can I, and only I, do, that if done well, can make a real difference to my company? There is only one answer to this question at any one given time. Your ability to ask and answer this question and then to do this one thing is a key to high levels of personal productivity and effectiveness. What is holding you back? The theory of constraints, popularized by Elihu Goldratt in his book The Goal, says that, in any work process, there is a limiting step or constraint that determines the speed at which the entire process can be completed. To get more done, you must identify the key constraints on your activities. You do this by asking these 2 questions: 1. What is my goal or objective? And 2. Why haven't I accomplished this goal or objective already? In other words, what is holding you back? What sets the speed at which you achieve your most important goal? Is your constraint internal either to yourself or to your company? Is your constraint external, caused or created by forces outside yourself or your organization? Your ability to identify the critical constraint that determines the speed at which you achieve your most important goal is essential to your getting the job done in a timely fashion. Once you have identified your key constraint, you must then focus and concentrate all of your energies on alleviating that constraint or solving that problem. Sometimes the removal of one key constraint can alter the entire situation. The hiring of one key person, or the acquisition of one key skill or resource, can totally change the future of your business. Often, you are only one key skill or ability away from doubling your income, and dramatically increasing your productivity and effectiveness. What could it be? Practice single handling in all things. The principle of the mass applies to every area of business and personal life. Your ability to identify the most important thing you can do and then to single handle, to concentrate without diversion or distraction on that one task or activity, is the key to high productivity. For example, the Marines are famous for focusing single-mindedly on achieving their objective. The inability to concentrate leads to wasted time, wasted energy, diffusion of effort, poor performance, underachievement, frustration, and eventual failure. Peter Drucker says, "Whenever you find something getting done, you find a monomaniac with a mission." Successful people all seem to have this special ability to concentrate their forces and mass their energies on the critical task where great success and victory is possible. Fortunately, focus and concentration are habits and ways of acting that you can learn with practice. Once you have developed the ability to set priorities and concentrate single-mindedly on the most valuable use of your time, your future becomes unlimited. The principle of the mass revisited. Great men and women and leaders in every area of life are those who have learned to focus on their critical tasks. In warfare, the ability to mass your forces at the right time and place is a force multiplier that enables smaller forces to conquer a larger enemy. An average person with average abilities and opportunities can often achieve outstanding success by concentrating on doing one thing, the most important thing, and doing it well. There are many qualities that are helpful in achieving success, but the qualities of focus and concentration are indispensable. With the ability to mass your powers, all things are possible. You become unstoppable and your ultimate victory is virtually guaranteed.
If this helped, give a thumbs up. If you love being read, to subscribe. If you want to support Learn to Read business book, invest in a copy of Victory! Applying the Proven Principles of Military Strategy. Link is in the description below.